What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much to everyone who checked out our latest live stream just a couple hours ago at the time of recording this, breaking down all the latest with the Mets and their free agency news. And we also had Jim from Ballcap Sports on. Make sure to subscribe to the man. He has some great baseball content there, discussing further the offseason for the Mets approach and just the overall MLB approach with free agency. And even Fuzzy, yes, the legend himself, Fuzzy, chimed into the chat for around 15-20 minutes. So that was a lot of fun too. So make sure you guys check out that stream after the fact if you haven't already. But for tonight's video, at the time of recording this, it's probably around midnight, but I don't care because we have a report that I did not know about until the live stream happened. So shout out to everyone who chimed in, who put me on. But the Mets have been connected to, yes, another outfield option, and definitely more of a depth option if you ask me, and that is of course an Albert Almora Jr. So that is what we will be breaking down in today's video. Everything there is to know about Almora Jr. and his game, the possible connection, if any, with the New York Mets, which is definitely there, what has been reported today, and everything in between. And as always, guys, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video. Follow the details on all my thoughts on Almora Jr. and the latest reports really connecting him with the New York Mets. And if you end up enjoying this kind of Mets content and want to see more great Mets content like this, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, share this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. It would really mean a lot, guys. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Help us get 2,000 subscribers. We are so close, but I know we will surely get there because of just how amazing this Mets fan base is. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Here we have 26-year-old center fielder and Albert Almora Jr. The 6'2", 190-pounder, originally drafted in the first round back in 2012 by the Chicago Cubs, 6th overall, had an abysmal short 2020 season, 28 games played, mainly due to injury, racking up just a batting average of 167, including just 1 RBI. But in 2019, in 130 games played and 339 at-bats, the 26-year-old had 12 home runs, 32 RBIs, a 236 batting average, 271 on-base percentage, a 391 slugging, and a 651 OPS, and just 489 games played and 1,224 at-bats in his career, has racked up 28 home runs, 134 RBIs, a career 271 batting average, a 309 on-base percentage, a 398 slugging, and a 707 OPS. I know, guys, I know. You're probably wondering, Tyler, why even waste your breath talking about a player who, from the stats from the past couple years, is not looking too hot? I completely agree, but this was reported earlier today by Andy Martino that the Mets have shown interest in Almora, at least have kept in touch with him among many other center fielding options. And yes, I know it's Andy Martino, but regardless, we do need to take this with some sincerity and see if actually anything could come to fruition, as more than likely a depth move. Obviously not a priority to be your everyday starter and center fielder, more of a guy that could be in a platoon role like Jake Marisnick, for example. But Almora, if you guys don't know more about his story, back in 2017 is really where he showed out. In the short 2016 season, he showed out helping the Cubs win the World Series in the process, but in 2017 put up some really strong numbers, including 8 home runs, 46 RBIs, a 298 batting average, and a 338 on base percentage, and put up awfully similar numbers the following year in the 2018 year. Things really have went downhill for Almora over the past couple years, not just because of injuries, but also a lot of people believe, and I do too, given what transpired with him just a couple years ago, unfortunately, with him hitting a foul ball and unfortunately hit a little girl. And as you can see down here in this article, suffered unfortunately permanent damage to the brain. And it seemed obvious because he was distraught after hitting her, and what player wouldn't be? And I'm not even going to show the clip or anything because there's no reason to. It's an unbelievably unfortunate situation. I feel terrible just reading about it, as I remember it when it happened, but this really refreshed my memory because I had forgotten since then. But a very unfortunate situation for a young man who's only at the age of 26 now, and probably feels that constantly as he plays, and that a lot of people believe, including myself to an extent, that has had an impact with himself at the plate and in the field. But regardless of all those adversities that Almora has faced, he has still been a very solid player in the MLB. And I know his 2020 numbers don't look stellar, but it was only 28 games played dealing with injury as well, awfully similar to a guy like Chris Bryant, his teammate, who also didn't have a strong 2020 season, mainly due to injury. But Almora, during his best, he has been an above average center fielder and can play all outfield positions, including the left mainly as well, and has had some very stellar catches throughout his young career. And at the age of only 26, there's literally no risk in this move for the Mets to go in and try to acquire a guy of his nature, probably on either a short or midterm deal at a very low AAV. I would imagine you can get a guy that very well could be a low risk, high reward situation. And what I think of this out of a lot of things is, one, you bring in a guy that has a strong glove. Yes, the analytics aren't necessarily fantastic. He has struggled with on base from the batting side of things past couple years, but again, he's only 2 years removed from still being a pretty solid hitter in the MLB and playing in Wrigley as well. I think he would fare well in Citi Field. And also taking into the fact that the Mets have an analytical dream of a staff now style, very reminiscent in the sense of the New York Yankees, where the Yanks every year always have great depth, and you're wondering, where do these guys come out? Where are they coming from? They come out of nowhere. When the Yanks get injured every single year, they have these guys step up that truly do it flawlessly. We're not talking about the Clint Frazier's, for instance, the ones that are great up-and-coming prospects that are finally blossoming. No, we're talking about guys that really have been fringe MLB players throughout their career, but then come to a team that is so analytically driven and then take their game to a next step. I'm just using that Yankees comparison because they have been strong with analytics, as have a lot of other teams in the MLB, and I don't see that being any different in this situation for the Mets. You bring in a guy like Almora, hopefully he has his head, the right head on his shoulders. Again, a really unfortunate situation that I'm hoping he's not hanging too much of his head on, but I completely understand if that is a factor at the end of the day. But again, this guy is still so young, so much potential, and still has a decent bat, where if he can bat hopefully at least around 250 average for you, that's all you need for a guy that still has a strong glove, can play multiple outfield positions, has youth on his side, so it's not like you need to worry about the guy being strictly a corner outfielder within the coming years, like a George Springer, for instance, because Springer, as much as I love him and I really believe the Mets still can land him, if they do in fact do just that, he's only going to be playing center for a couple years, I'd have to imagine, before he becomes a set in stone either DH or corner outfielder, given his age already at 31. Almora, at the age of 26, you cannot go wrong in this situation, and a guy that I think is really going to thrive in a new change of scenery with Citi Field, with the New York Mets, with Jared Porter, Zach Scott, and Zach Scott knows his analytics. He was the analytical guru literally for the Red Sox for years now, and he's going to bring a lot to the table for the Mets that he already has shown in some of the moves that they have made over the past couple weeks. So I'm really excited about this. I think that Almora very well could be a realistic option for the Mets, as not the priority option in center field, but to add depth, basically filling the void of a Jake Marisnick, for example, assuming that he doesn't come back with the team. He brings a righty bat, that's Sandy Alderson, as we touched on our previous video regarding George Springer, in which Alderson is prioritizing a righty bat in center field, so that will help things as well, and will just help bring more depth to this roster that I think you cannot go wrong in on a short to mid-term deal, low AAV, literally zero to no risk, if you ask me, for a guy who has had some pop in his bat in regards to actual consistency, has had a higher on-base percentage just these past couple years, have really not done him lightly, unfortunately, but I think given his age, there's plenty of potential there to grow and take advantage of the analytical dream that is this front office for the New York Mets now. So Mets fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Albert Almora Jr. landing with the New York Mets as pretty much a B option, really just a depth move, I would have to imagine, to bring some more great defensive help for this team? And even though it might not be stellar, this guy has been on the verge of just being a Gold Glover just a couple years ago and just missed out. He is a guy who has had some highlight reel catches, has looked strong defensively at times, and I think he can continue that pace and get back to his consistent level that he was a couple years ago during his time in Chicago. But if you guys ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content and want to see more great Mets content like this, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, share this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. It really mean a lot, guys. Again, help us get 2,000 subscribers. It would mean the world. Trust me, this is just beginning here on Awarding NYM, and I can only imagine where we're going to be once the season starts for the Mets and everything in between. It's so exciting. I've been enjoying every single second, sharing all my thoughts with all you lovely Mets fans. So thank you again. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll talk to you all again real soon.